Testing, testing, one, two, three. Oh, it's good. Good evening, good evening, everybody. Movie Watcher 123 here, and for today's live stream, we are going to be talking about the best and worst moments of another one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows, My Life as a Teenage Robot. So as soon as some people join in, we will begin. Just a minute, I have to provide the link. There it is. There's the link. Now, I want to tell you about My Life as a Teenage Robot. It's one of my favorite shows ever on Nickelodeon. I've watched it years ago, back in the 2000s. And I'll tell you right now, this girl is on fire. It's about this robot XJ9, but she wants to call herself Jenny. And she tries to make friends with people. But then, lo and behold, she has to stick to her superhero duties. This show takes place in the fictional town of Tremonton. Yes, fictional means doesn't exist. She tries to make plans with her friends, but then evil attacks Tremonton, and XJ9, aka Jenny, tries to keep the city safe. Yes, that's right. So anyway, it's still a good show. It came out, the pilot episode, backdoor pilot episode, came out on January 5th, 1999. But the first episode for the show actually started on August 1st, 2003. So, it's still a good one. A good show. Man, I wish they have it on DVD. So, anyway, if you have any episodes of My Life as a Teenage Robot you want to talk about, drop them in the comments or in the private chat, and we'll talk about it. What to talk about first? So if you haven't already saw the link, I've already provided it. It's right there. Just join in when you're ready. All right. Here is the first episode we're going to talk about. My neighbor is a teenage robot. This is the backdoor pilot episode that came out on January 5th, 1999. It originally aired as a segment in an episode of the Nickelodeon series Oh Yeah Cartoons. Now, this one is about like this. After accidentally throwing the baseball into the window of a house next door, Brad Carbuncle sends his brother Tuck to retrieve the ball, but he meets a beautiful robot girl named XJ9. She calls herself Jenny, who gives him the baseball, scaring the pants off of him. Then he tells his brother there's a robot inside, but he doesn't believe him. Jenny belongs to a scientist named Dr. Nora Wakeman, who wants her to save the world, but she meets Brad, sneaks out, and then hangs out. But Tuck is still afraid of her. You see, I don't understand how Tuck got scared when he met Jenny. I mean, there's nothing to be scared of, nothing to worry about. So yes, it's it's one of the greatest episodes of all time. It came out years ago. Show is digital Renzetti by Federator Studios in association with Nickelodeon Animation Studio, with Rough Draft Studios providing the animation services. Set in the fictional town of Tremorton, the series follows the adventures of a robot girl named X9, or G, as she prefers to be called, who attempts her duties of protecting Earth while trying to live a normal human as a teenager. Yep. It's one of the greatest episodes of all time, great shows as well. So, let's talk about the next episode, shall we? Let me see here. What to talk about next? Just a minute. Okay. Let's talk about this next episode. It came from next door. Now, in this episode, Jenny makes her first contact with the outside world, meeting Brad and Tuck Carbuncle for the first time. While Brad immediately accepts Jenny as a new friend, Tuck does not quite see her as anything other than an, quote, evil robot cyborg, unquote. So in that episode, Jenny tries to make friends with people, but Tuck, not so much. He's still afraid of her, but maybe she tries to reason with her. No, maybe she tries to reason with him that she is easy to get along with. Yeah, you know how someone is when they meet new people for the first time. They get very shy easily. This episode, like I said, came on August 1st, 2000. It's one of the first episodes for season 1. Now then, there are a lot of episodes of this show, so if you have any episodes talk in the private chat, the link is already provided, so you don't need to worry about that. Just join when you feel ready. Now then, let's talk about the next episode of My Life as a Teenage Robot. Okay, let's see here. Which next episode to talk about? Here's another one we should talk about. Pest control. Dr. Winkman's mutant lab rats, led by the evil genius Mir, also known as Mr. Scuffles. Mr. Scruffles plans to destroy her by taking control that tries to take his body, but unfortunately he fails. So he tried to attack by any means necessary. And she did. So yes, Jenny tries to do whatever it takes to stop Mr. Scruffles by taking all her body. I mean, lab rats can be smart sometimes. Yeah. So Jenny manages to take back her body from Mr. Scruffles, and all seems so. If you have any episodes we should talk about, let me know in the comments or in the private chat. Okay, let's talk about the next episode, shall we? Okay. Here's another one. Raggedy Android. Jenny wants to go to the town fair, but Dr. Wakeman fears that Jenny will spook the townspeople with her presence. When Jenny gets a hold of a prototype, quote, exoskin, unquote, for her to wear, she sees her chance to mingle with the fairgoers. Unfortunately, its mangled appearance only scares them. Meanwhile, Tuck attempts to conquer his fears of Ferris wheels. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that Jenny tries to mingle with people at the fair. Unfortunately, it went wrong, and people start chasing after her. But when but when Tuck tries to have fun, he sees a Ferris wheel, but was too scared to go on it. But he did go on it along with his older brother, Brad. Hello, Angel. Thanks. Glad you could be here. So, Tuck tries to conquer his fear of Ferris wheels because they're big machines that go so high you could see the whole fairground from that height. And then when Jenny hears Tuck scream, she springs into action, only to learn that the Ferris wheel has been spinning out of control so fast after the switch went to death spiral. That's way too fast. Maybe I should go on a Ferris wheel because I've never been on one before. So yeah, the Ferris wheel was about to crash into some electrical wires, but thanks to Jenny using her quote stretchy arms and extended fingers, she manages to stop it, and the people are safe. So everybody's okay. Now, let's talk about the next episode, shall we? Before I talk about the next episode, I just want to make one thing very clear. I don't want to see any spam links in the chat. I don't want to see any mean comments of any type. I've made some rules on my channel. If you have to break them after being told so 3 times, you're out of here. So let's just keep the chat peaceful so we don't have to go through that stuff. Okay, here's the next episode. Class action. On her first day of high school, Jenny seeks to make some new friends, and she thinks she can find some in the arrogant Britt and Tiff crust. Unfortunately, the Crust cousins do not share the same feelings and plan to humiliate her. This episode, when I got back from school years ago in the 2000s. Yes. So Jenny tries to mingle in with the students, but then something happens and Jenny got blamed for it. However, Jenny tries to turn things around, but Britt and Tiff are trying to get her in trouble. That is until they were in science class when the Bunsen burner burnt out during Chemistry 101. Jenny did okay by one of the Crust cousins accidentally threw a hairpin into one of Jenny's machines, and it went haywire, damaging and destroying the class. So Jenny was about to be sent to the big house. Unfortunately, it turns out the Crust cousins are to blame for the classroom wreckage, and they were taken away. At the end of this episode, a high school went tumbling down, left nothing but a pile of rubble. Yep. That's that. So anyway, it's still a good episode. I hope that everyone likes it. And we still have more episodes to talk about. So if you have any episodes of my life as a teenage robot to talk about, drop them in the comments and we'll get to discussing. Okay, let's talk about the next episode. Let's see here. Which one? Which one? Ah, I know a perfect one. Just a minute. Sibling tsunami. Now, this episode, when Jenny finds and reactivates her sisters, Earth-J prototypes 1 through 8, she is beyond happy. Each sister has her own personality. However, and they do not all have the same level of friendliness that Jenny has. It goes like this. Jenny has, like, what, 8 sisters? Wow, 8 sisters. That's less sisters than Lincoln has, except he has 10. But anyway, XJ1 is the baby that pukes oil all the time. And I remember episode very X2 time. 3 is breaks apart every time. XJ4, she's like the OCD type of robot. OCD, obsessive cleaning disorder. Yeah, anything she sees dirty, she just cleans it up right away. XJ5, I don't know what her personality is. I did see it, but I forgot what it was because it's been so long. XJ6 is like, the mean girl, sassy perhaps. Wrong. XJ7 is like the gloomy, sad one. And XJ8, I mean, she's big, talks in a low, deep robot voice. So anyway, there was this like brother-sister event going on at the park. She and her sisters try to fit in, but their personalities caused them to wreak havoc. And then 2 camera bros jam, and thereby unleashing the water and flooding the whole place. And it did succeed. But Jenny couldn't do it alone. Her sisters see this as an opportunity to make the things right. But unfortunately, despite their efforts to fix the broken dam the first time, it broke apart and water was flowing everywhere. So the whole robot pack came together like a puzzle, stopped the water from flowing, and everything went back to normal. In the end, they were all having a sleepover, but as they were about to go to sleep, their combined weight tore a hole through the ceiling and they fell to the floor. Yep, that's something you don't see every day. It's a good episode. I still remember that. Yep. So, let's talk about the next episode. If you guys ever watched My Life as a Teenage Robot, let me know. The next episode to talk about. Here's the next. Just a minute. In this episode, you guys see this. Having been found to have only been activated for 5 years because she was made 5 years ago, the school system declares that Jenny has to be moved into a grade level that corresponds her quote age. Jenny finds herself being forced to kindergarten. The principal believed that but Jenny was made 5 years ago, but she was designed as a teenager. But unfortunately, as a result of being mistaken as a 5-year-old toddler, Jenny was moved to kindergarten. But when she tried to so she tries to make do. But in the end of that episode, the kindergarten teacher realized the truth and Jenny had to leave. But she didn't want to because she liked those kids. It was sad. Yep. It was very sad. Yes, some students every moment they have to leave or on the school. There are many times. Okay, let's talk about the next episode. Speak no evil. While on a mission in Japan, English speech. Problems. She uses to make peace with a Japanese girl. So all she speaks is Japanese, and the people couldn't understand. Yep, that was a mistake. Let's see here. Chat geek. Okay, let's talk about the next episode of my life as a teenage robot. Hold on. Let's see, which episode to talk about next? Here's another one. Attack of the 5.5-foot geek. When Jenny saves local school geek Sheldon from a gang of bullies, he quickly becomes smitten with her and won't leave her alone. You know what smitten is? When you're smitten with someone, you fall in love with that person. Easy, right? Not in Jenny's case. Smitten, when you're smitten with someone, you fall in love with that person. Most likely follow that person around. It can be okay at first, but later it can be very annoying for that person. So yes, Sheldon has feelings for Jenny. I wonder what Jenny thinks of Sheldon, huh? Okay. Let's talk about the next episode, shall we? Anybody wishes to join in? Feel free to do so as I talk about the next episode. hostile takeover. When Jenny starts to develop face bolts, voice changes, and excess wires growing out of her body, Brad chalks it up to puberty. However, it soon becomes apparent that the quote puberty is actually the doing of Queen Vexes of the cluster, who has infected Jenny with a virus to warp her into a loyal cluster-controlled monster. Vexes is the queen of the cluster who tries desperately to try to make innocent victims join the cluster. One of those victims, Jenny. But as you know, good always triumphs over evil. But in that episode, later, during the picture day at school, the camera woman, disguised as Vexes, takes one picture of Jenny, the monster, and then later her eyes turn red and she starts rampaging all over the place. So her mother and friends try to do whatever it takes to stop it from happening. And it worked. So after the giant XJ9 monster fell to the ground, the little robot busted through Jenny's stomach. Yikes. Creepy, huh? Well, not to me, though. Anyway, after that, Jenny turns back to normal. And unfortunately for Vexes, she did not receive Jenny as a new member of the Cluster Prime family. So, yes, if you have any episodes of My Life as a Teenage Robot, drop them in the comments and we'll start talking. Okay, let's talk about this next one. Just a minute. Here's the next one we should talk about. Dressed to Kill. Thanks to a screw-up from one of his cluster troops, Commander Smitus loses a cache of superpowered pip crystals to the Crust Cousins. The cousins decide to flaunt both their style and newfound powers in front of Jenny, and she must use her keen fashion sense to save herself in time. Now I've seen that episode many times. The Crust Cousins used the power of those crystals to try to attack Jenny. Believe me, I saw it. It was crazy. They thought they could win, but they didn't. So, in the end of the episode, the Crust Cousins were shocked to discover that crystals were no longer useful anymore. Crystals are so out in the magazine. That's what it says. And I can tell that they were very disappointed. Okay. Let's talk about the next episode of My Life as a Teenage Robot. All right. Here's another one. Trade Show Showdown. Now, in this episode, Jenny is stuck going to a robot convention with Dr. Wakeman, snubbed by all the other robots and insulted by Dr. Wakeman's rival, Dr. Phineas Mogg. Jenny finds herself going to a robot called V for comfort. However, V is actually Vex's in disguise, seeking to recruit new cluster members. And yes, you guessed right, Vex's is at it again, trying to force Jenny to join the cluster. And like always, she fails miserably every single time. Man, does she ever give up? She knows that Jenny will never join the cluster. Good always wins. Good always triumphs over evil. Okay, let's talk about the next episode, shall we? Here's the next one. The Wonderful World of Wesley. Now, in this episode, Jenny gets a chance to visit the theme park Wesley World with Brad and Tuck, and she cannot help but think that the robots in the park feel miserable. When Jenny breaks them out of the park, however, chaos ensues. So Jenny tries to get the robots out of the park because she feels that they don't belong there. They belong in, quote, the real world. But Brad told Jenny that they were designed to work in an amusement park. She tries to get them out of there. But when they were released into the real world, things start to go down. It's crazy. Robots don't belong in the real world. They're designed for other things to help people and stuff. Yep. So, yes. I meant to say hostile. I meant to say hostile makeovers. Ah, darn it. I misspelled the word. Here, let's try to fix it. Also, I know how Christian feel. Sorry about that. The signal is bad, but I managed to not let that get to me. Here it is. I meant to say hostile makeover. I put takeover instead. Gosh darn it. Yes, it was a mistake, but I try not to let that get to me. If you have, let me link in again just to be sure. Okay, let's talk about the next episode, shall we? Wakeman installs a dream chip, Jenny's joy causes her to abuse its function and finds herself stuck in dream mode and sleepwalking, causing mayhem in the process. So, yes, like all machines and inventions, they always go wrong every time, and it's up to the creator to try to put a stop to it by fixing the problem. So, yeah, this time with feeling. In this episode, Jenny's desire to know the feeling of physical contact leads to her to steal a set of artificial nerves from Dr. Wakeman. The nerves, however, have only two settings, tickle and pain. Jenny must manage these while fighting Hercules, a villain whose strength increases with Hercules, but different. Yep. Hercules is like a Hercules lookalike villain. His strength only increases at the sound of someone being in pain, but his strength decreases at the sound of laughter. So, yes, at the end of the episode, her nerve endings got taken off by her mother. Listen when Dr. Wakeman says no. So, looks like. But in the end of the episode, she managed to keep one on her hand at Tickle without this next episode. Just a minute. Here's one. Oh, we talked about that one already. Call hating. In this episode, after Jenny defeats the muck monster destroying Tremorton, Jenny decides to take a break. But in this episode, when Jenny hangs up on Dr. Wakeman one too many times, the doctor desperately reprograms Jenny's communicator to make Jenny unable to turn it off, which actually pisses Jenny off so much that she couldn't take it no more. Sheesh. Talk about smothering. Am I right? So the as they were all eating lunch in the cafeteria, the new dessert cups that they had suddenly got alive, and it turned into the same monster that Jenny defeated earlier that day. Jenny tries to use her weapons to destroy it, but unfortunately, her classmates were all inside the Jello monster. But Dr. Wakeman came to the rescue with something of her own, potassium citrate and potassium acetate. Using them, she manages to freeze the Jello monster, and everyone got out safely, despite being cold. Ooh, that's something you don't see every day. Okay, I'm going to talk about a few more episodes, then I'm going to end the stream. And I'm going to talk about this next one. Just a minute. Okay, here's the last episode I'm going to talk about. Then I'm going to end the live stream. Future shock. In this episode, when Tuck takes a look into Dr. Wakeman's quote, future scope, and sees a vision which leads him to believe that Jenny will kill Brad, he takes all costs to stop Brad from leaving for a drive-in movie showing. So basically, Tuck is worried that he might injure himself with sharp objects. He tries to take them away from him. Like with the shaver blade, looking in his shoes, checking for, quote, scorpions. He's worried. Tuck. So, and when they were going to the movie theater outside, like a drive-in movie theater, Tuck still tries to ensure that Brad is okay. And yeah, it's true. In the end of the episode, Tuck thought that Brad's head was chopped off, but it wasn't. Let me see here. Yeah. Well, this has been a wonderful live stream. I hope you guys like it, despite the fact nobody else joined in the StreamYard studio with me. But it was quite all right. So if you have any other things what I should talk about in the next live stream, let me know in the comments. I also made some other YouTube videos, and I also made some playlists. I had to delete one of them because all the episodes in the Justice League Season 1 playlist were all deleted. I don't know why. Maybe it was copyright. Who knows? So I made a new playlist called Best Heartbeat Videos. If you haven't watched any of my playlists yet, watch them right away. Let me know which one you like. Comment on them. And be sure that you subscribe to me. Help me reach 500 subscribers. So let me know what I should do next live stream. And if you have any ideas, let me know right away. And I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next live stream. Bye.